Respect is one of the few things in life that cannot be demanded, purchased, borrowed, or forced. You can have money, status, influence, and even authority, yet still fail to earn genuine respect. Why? Because respect is not created by what you own. It is created by who you become. And one of the clearest reflections of who you are is the way you speak. Long before people discover your talents, they discover your words. Long before they trust your decisions, they observe your communication. Every sentence you speak is either building your reputation or quietly destroying it. Most people believe that speaking like a leader means having a powerful voice or delivering impressive speeches. That is only the surface. Real leadership has nothing to do with sounding important. It has everything to do with making your words carry purpose. A leader does not speak simply because there is silence. A leader speaks because there is something worth saying. Every unnecessary word weakens the important ones. Every emotional reaction reduces credibility. Every careless sentence slowly chips away at the respect you hope to earn. Look around at the people who naturally command attention. They are rarely the loudest person in the room. They do not interrupt every conversation or compete to prove they are right. Their confidence is not built on volume. It is built on control. They understand that speaking is easy, but speaking wisely requires discipline. Anyone can react. Very few people can respond. The greatest leaders understand something that most people never learn. Your mouth should never move faster than your mind. The moment emotions take control of your words, your judgment begins to disappear. Anger makes you say things you later regret. Fear makes you stay silent when truth should be spoken. Pride convinces you that winning an argument is more important than protecting a relationship. A leader recognizes these emotions but refuses to become their prisoner. People are always listening for more than your words. They are listening for your character. They notice whether your confidence comes from wisdom or from arrogance. They notice whether your calmness remains during pressure or disappears the moment life becomes difficult. They notice whether your actions support your promises. Your voice may introduce you, but your character decides whether people continue listening. One sentence spoken with sincerity is stronger than 100 spoken for attention. Think about every conversation you have throughout the day. How many words are actually necessary? How many are spoken simply to avoid silence? Modern life has convinced people that constant talking equals confidence. In reality, endless talking often reveals insecurity. People who are comfortable with themselves do not need to dominate every discussion. They understand that silence can communicate confidence just as powerfully as speech. Silence is not weakness. It is evidence of self-control. It gives you time to think instead of react. It allows you to observe instead of assume. While everyone else rushes to express opinions, the leader quietly gathers understanding. Then, when they finally speak, people listen because experience has taught them that their words have meaning. There is a difference between speaking to impress people and speaking to influence them. Impressing people may satisfy your ego for a moment. Influencing people changes lives. Impressive words are quickly forgotten if they are not supported by consistent actions. Influence is earned when people see honesty, discipline, humility, and courage reflected in everything you say. A leader never uses words as weapons to make others feel small. They use words as tools to build confidence, solve problems, and create understanding. Anyone can criticize, anyone can complain, anyone can point out mistakes. It takes maturity to encourage someone without flattering them. It takes wisdom to correct someone without humiliating them. The strongest voice is often the one that makes others stronger. Your tone matters as much as your vocabulary. Two people can speak exactly the same sentence, yet one earns trust while the other creates resistance. Why? Because people remember how your words made them feel. Calmness creates safety. Respect creates openness. Patience creates trust. A leader understands that communication is not only about transferring information. It is about creating connection. Leaders also ask questions. They do not assume they know everything. They understand that listening is one of the highest forms of respect. When people feel heard, they become willing to hear you. Listening allows you to understand before offering advice. It prevents unnecessary conflict because understanding almost always comes before wisdom. Many people lose respect because they speak before they think. They answer immediately, argue impulsively, interrupt constantly, and defend themselves without fully understanding the situation. A leader pauses. That pause is not hesitation. It is discipline. It allows reason to replace emotion and wisdom to replace impulse. Respect also grows when your words remain consistent. If your opinions change with every crowd, people will question your integrity. If your promises mean nothing, your advice will eventually mean nothing as well. Consistency is what transforms ordinary communication into trusted leadership. People follow those whose words remain steady, because steady words usually come from a steady mind. Humility gives power to every sentence. Leaders are never afraid to admit mistakes. They understand that saying, "I was wrong," does not weaken authority. It strengthens credibility. Pride forces people to defend every decision. Wisdom allows people to correct themselves. Those who value truth more than ego always earn deeper respect. The strongest leaders never chase recognition. They chase excellence. They do not ask, "How can I sound important?" They ask, "How can I speak with honesty, clarity, and purpose?" That simple change transforms every conversation. Instead of seeking attention, they seek understanding. Instead of seeking applause, they seek progress. Instead of trying to control people, they first learn to control themselves. Every conversation is an opportunity to build or lose respect. Every response reveals your level of emotional discipline. Every sentence becomes part of your reputation. People may forget your appearance, your possessions, or even your achievements, but they rarely forget the way your words made them feel. Speak with patience when others become impatient. Speak with courage when truth becomes uncomfortable. Speak with humility when success tempts pride. Speak with kindness without becoming weak. Speak with confidence without becoming arrogant. Speak with purpose instead of speaking simply to be heard. Over time, your voice will no longer demand respect because your character will make respect the natural response. Silence is often misunderstood. Many people assume that the person who speaks the most is the one with the greatest confidence, influence, or intelligence. In reality, the opposite is often true. Those who constantly feel the need to explain themselves, defend every opinion, or dominate every conversation usually reveal an inner need for validation. A person who is truly secure does not rush to fill every moment with words. They understand that presence is more powerful than noise, and that thoughtful silence creates a sense of strength that endless talking never can. When someone remains calm while others react emotionally, people naturally begin to pay attention. Silence communicates patience, self-control, and confidence. It shows that a person is thinking rather than simply responding. In moments of tension, the quiet individual often becomes the center of attention because everyone wonders what they are thinking. Their words gain value precisely because they are not wasted. Instead of speaking from impulse, they choose the right moment, the right tone, and the right message. That deliberate approach creates an authority that cannot be manufactured through volume or speed. Silence also allows observation. While others are focused on expressing their opinions, a quiet person is gathering information. They notice body language, emotional reactions, hidden motivations, and details that louder people often miss. This deeper awareness leads to wiser decisions because understanding comes before judgment. The strongest leaders are rarely the fastest to speak. They prefer to understand the entire situation before offering guidance, knowing that clarity is impossible without careful observation. There is also a discipline hidden within silence. Every unnecessary argument avoided, every emotional reaction restrained, and every impulsive comment left unsaid strengthens self-control. Over time, this discipline becomes visible to everyone around you. People begin to trust someone who does not speak carelessly because they know each statement has been considered. Trust grows when words consistently reflect thought instead of emotion. Many conversations lose their value because people listen only to prepare their next response. Genuine silence transforms listening into a skill. It gives others the feeling that they are truly being heard, and that simple act builds respect more effectively than clever speeches ever could. People naturally feel drawn toward those who make them feel understood. Instead of competing for attention, the quiet listener creates space for meaningful connection, allowing relationships to develop on a foundation of trust rather than constant self-expression. True authority is not announced. It is recognized through consistent behavior. A person who controls their words demonstrates that they have already learned to control themselves. That inner mastery becomes visible long before they ever decide to speak, before anyone can influence the thoughts, actions, or decisions of others. They must first learn to govern their own mind. Many people chase positions of leadership, believing that authority comes from titles, recognition, or the ability to direct others. Yet the greatest challenge has never been leading people. It has always been leading yourself. A mind that is ruled by fear, anger, pride, or constant distraction cannot provide clear direction for anyone else. The quality of your leadership will always reflect the quality of your inner discipline. The human mind naturally moves toward comfort and away from discomfort. It creates excuses when effort is required and seeks immediate satisfaction instead of lasting growth. Without awareness, these habits quietly shape decisions, relationships, and character. Someone who cannot resist small temptations will struggle with greater responsibilities. Someone who loses control over minor frustrations will find it difficult to remain steady during serious challenges. Leadership begins by recognizing these patterns rather than pretending they do not exist. Emotional control is one of the strongest forms of strength. Anyone can remain calm when life is easy, but difficult moments reveal the true condition of the mind. Criticism, failure, rejection, and uncertainty have a way of exposing hidden weaknesses. If every disagreement becomes an argument or every setback becomes a reason to quit, then external circumstances have already taken control. A disciplined mind refuses to surrender its peace to temporary situations. It responds with intention instead of reacting through emotion. Self-awareness is equally important. Many people spend years analyzing others while avoiding an honest examination of themselves. They notice flaws in coworkers, friends, and family members, but ignore the habits that limit their own growth. A leader who lacks self-awareness often blames circumstances instead of accepting responsibility. Personal growth begins when excuses end and honest reflection becomes a daily habit. Focus is another sign of mental mastery. Modern life constantly competes for attention through endless distractions, opinions, and noise. A wandering mind produces scattered actions, while a focused mind creates meaningful progress. The ability to concentrate on what truly matters separates those who simply stay busy from those who consistently achieve results. Every distraction resisted strengthens discipline, and every deliberate choice reinforces self-control. Patience also reflects a trained mind. Success rarely arrives as quickly as people expect, and meaningful change often requires months or years of consistent effort. Those who expect immediate rewards become discouraged when progress feels slow. A disciplined person understands that lasting achievements are built through repeated daily actions rather than dramatic moments of inspiration. They remain committed even when results are invisible because they trust the process more than temporary emotions. Many people believe that influence comes from speaking often, but lasting influence comes from speaking with purpose. Words lose their value when they are used carelessly or excessively. Just as a rare object becomes valuable because it is not easily found, meaningful words gain power because they are chosen with intention. The strongest communicators understand that every sentence should carry weight, not simply fill silence. They know that speaking less is not about withholding ideas. It is about ensuring that every idea deserves attention. When a person talks continuously, listeners often stop paying attention. The mind naturally filters out information that feels repetitive or unnecessary. On the other hand, someone who speaks only after careful thought creates curiosity. People begin to anticipate what they will say because they have learned that their words are worth hearing. This habit transforms ordinary conversations into moments of genuine impact. It is not the number of words that changes people. It is the quality behind those words. Thoughtful speech begins with thoughtful thinking. Before expressing an opinion, a wise person takes time to examine it. They consider whether their words are accurate, helpful, and appropriate for the moment. This pause may last only a few seconds, but it prevents countless misunderstandings. Many conflicts are not caused by bad intentions, but by careless speech. A brief moment of reflection often protects relationships that impulsive words could easily damage. Speaking less also creates room for listening. Every conversation contains valuable information that is often missed by those who are focused only on their next response. Careful listeners notice emotions behind words, unspoken concerns, and details that reveal a person's true perspective. This understanding allows them to respond with greater wisdom because their answers are based on complete awareness rather than assumptions. People naturally appreciate those who make them feel heard instead of interrupted. There is also confidence hidden within restraint. Someone who constantly seeks to prove their intelligence through endless explanations often reveals insecurity rather than strength. A confident individual does not feel pressured to win every debate or have the final word. They understand that silence can communicate certainty more effectively than endless arguments. Their calm presence reflects inner stability rather than the need for external approval. Precision is another mark of meaningful speech. Instead of using many words to express a simple idea, effective communicators choose language that is direct and clear. Simplicity is not a sign of limited knowledge. It is evidence of deep understanding. When an idea is fully understood, it can usually be explained without unnecessary complexity. Clear words remove confusion and allow the message to remain in the listener's mind long after the conversation has ended. Every unnecessary sentence weakens the important ones that surround it. Meaningful communication is built on discipline, patience, and intentional expression. People remember conversations that made them think, not conversations that merely lasted a long time. They respect individuals whose words consistently bring clarity, encouragement, or wisdom, because every statement reflects careful thought instead of passing emotion. Many people mistake loudness for strength. They believe that speaking over others, demanding attention, or constantly proving themselves will earn admiration. For a short time, volume may capture attention, but attention and respect are not the same. Attention can be forced, while respect must be earned. People may listen because someone is louder, wealthier, or more powerful, but genuine respect grows only when they consistently witness integrity, humility, and self-control. Character leaves a lasting impression long after the sound of a voice has disappeared. Character is revealed through everyday choices rather than dramatic moments. It is seen in the way a person treats those who cannot offer anything in return. It appears in how they respond when no one is watching, when there is no applause, and when taking the easier path would go unnoticed. A person with strong character does the right thing because it is right, not because it brings recognition. This quiet consistency creates a reputation that no speech or performance can imitate. People naturally trust individuals whose actions remain steady regardless of changing circumstances. Anyone can appear kind when life is comfortable, but difficult situations reveal true character. Pressure exposes what comfort often hides. When faced with criticism, disappointment, or conflict, a person of character remains respectful without becoming weak, firm without becoming cruel, and confident without becoming arrogant. Their behavior reflects principles rather than emotions, and this stability inspires confidence in everyone around them. Volume often comes from insecurity. Those who constantly seek to dominate conversations or win every disagreement may be trying to protect their pride rather than communicate truth. A secure person does not feel threatened by different opinions. They can remain calm even when challenged because their confidence is rooted in values instead of approval. They understand that shouting cannot make a weak argument stronger, and that respect is never created through intimidation. Honesty is one of the strongest foundations of character. People may forgive mistakes, but they struggle to trust someone who repeatedly abandons the truth. A person whose words are reliable earns confidence over time because others know they do not speak to manipulate or impress. Their promises carry weight because they have developed a habit of honoring them, even when doing so requires sacrifice or discomfort. Humility also strengthens character. Truly respected individuals do not pretend to know everything. They are willing to admit mistakes, accept correction, and continue learning without allowing pride to stand in the way. This openness demonstrates confidence rather than weakness because it shows they value growth more than appearance. Instead of protecting their image, they focus on improving themselves each day. Every interaction becomes an opportunity to reveal character. The patience shown during disagreement, the honesty displayed under pressure, the kindness offered without expectation, and the discipline practiced when emotions rise all contribute to the reputation a person builds. While loud voices may temporarily dominate a room, consistent character quietly earns lasting trust, influence, and respect in the hearts of those who observe it. Many people believe that leadership begins with charisma, confidence, or the ability to inspire a crowd. While these qualities can attract attention, They are not what makes people continue to follow someone. The strongest influence comes from discipline. People naturally trust a voice that reflects consistency because they know it is supported by action rather than empty promises. Discipline shapes character, and character gives credibility to every word a person speaks. Without discipline, even the most inspiring speech eventually loses its meaning. Discipline is the habit of doing what is necessary even when emotions suggest otherwise. It means staying committed when motivation disappears, remaining honest when dishonesty seems easier, and continuing to improve even when no one is watching. These repeated choices create a quiet strength that others notice over time. A disciplined person does not need to convince people that they are reliable because their daily actions already provide the evidence. Words become powerful when they are backed by personal example. Advice from someone who refuses to follow their own principles rarely carries lasting influence. People quickly recognize the difference between knowledge and wisdom. Knowledge is what someone says they understand. Wisdom is what someone consistently lives. When discipline becomes part of everyday life, every sentence gains greater authority because listeners know those words have been tested through experience rather than borrowed from someone else. Discipline also creates emotional stability. Life is filled with unexpected challenges, criticism, failure, and uncertainty. A person ruled by emotions speaks differently every day, depending on their mood or circumstances. One day they are confident, the next they are discouraged, and the day after they are overwhelmed. In contrast, a disciplined mind remains steady. It does not ignore emotions, but refuses to let them control important decisions. This consistency creates a sense of security, making others more willing to trust the guidance of someone who remains calm under pressure. Another gift of discipline is patience. Many people seek immediate recognition, instant success, and quick results. They become frustrated when progress takes longer than expected. A disciplined individual understands that meaningful achievements require time. They focus on daily improvement rather than temporary rewards. Because they are committed to the process instead of chasing constant validation, they develop endurance that inspires those around them. Discipline also teaches responsibility. Instead of blaming circumstances, other people, or bad luck, disciplined individuals examine their own choices first. They ask what they can improve rather than searching for excuses. This mindset encourages growth because it places control where it belongs, within personal actions rather than external events. Others naturally admire people who accept responsibility with humility instead of avoiding accountability. The voice that earns lasting respect is rarely the loudest or the most dramatic. It is the voice of someone whose life reflects integrity, perseverance, and self-control. Every promise kept, every temptation resisted, every difficult decision faced with courage, and every challenge met with determination adds quiet strength to their influence. Over time, people begin to follow not because they are persuaded by impressive words, but because they have witnessed the discipline that gives those words undeniable credibility. The way you speak reveals far more than the words you choose. It reflects your confidence, emotional control, level of discipline, and the respect you have for both yourself and others. People form impressions within moments of hearing someone speak, and those impressions often determine whether they listen with interest or dismiss the message entirely. Speaking like a leader is not about sounding superior or using complicated language. It is about communicating with clarity, purpose, and calm confidence. When your words consistently reflect these qualities, respect begins to grow naturally. A leader does not speak to impress people. They speak to help people understand. Every sentence has a purpose, and every conversation moves toward clarity rather than confusion. Instead of filling silence with unnecessary opinions, they choose words carefully, knowing that thoughtful communication has a greater impact than endless conversation. This restraint gives their voice weight because listeners recognize that every word has been considered before it was spoken. Confidence plays an important role in leadership, but true confidence is quiet. It does not depend on speaking the loudest or winning every argument. A confident speaker remains composed even when others disagree. They do not become defensive when challenged or aggressive when questioned. They respond with patience because they understand that emotional reactions weaken credibility, while calm responses strengthen trust. This emotional balance makes people feel secure enough to value what they have to say. Leaders also know the importance of listening. Speaking like a leader does not mean dominating every discussion. It means giving others the opportunity to express themselves while paying genuine attention to their thoughts. Careful listening demonstrates respect, and respect is often returned. People are naturally more willing to accept advice from someone who first made the effort to understand them, rather than simply waiting for a chance to speak. Honesty gives leadership its foundation. Words lose their influence when they are used to exaggerate, manipulate, or seek approval. A leader speaks truthfully, even when the truth is uncomfortable. They avoid making promises they cannot keep and refuse to say what others simply want to hear. Over time, this consistency creates trust, and trust is the beginning of genuine respect. People remember those whose words remain reliable in every situation. Another quality of leadership is simplicity. Effective communicators explain complex ideas in a way that anyone can understand. They do not hide behind difficult vocabulary or lengthy explanations. Their goal is not to appear intelligent, but to make others feel informed. Clear communication removes confusion, builds confidence, and allows important ideas to be remembered long after the conversation has ended. Respect is also influenced by the attitude behind the words. A leader speaks with humility rather than arrogance, firmness rather than harshness, and confidence rather than pride. They encourage instead of humiliating, guide instead of controlling, and correct without disrespecting others. Their tone reflects maturity, and their language reflects self-control. People naturally recognize the difference between someone who seeks power over others and someone who seeks the growth of others, and they respond by placing greater value on a voice that consistently demonstrates wisdom, integrity, and quiet strength.